10 weeks into my pregnancy, I found out that my baby had a rare birth defect called acrania. The doctors told me that my baby would die shortly after birth. They told me that I should terminate the pregnancy because of the state of Louisiana's abortion ban. They could not perform the procedure. They said I had to carry my baby to bury my baby. This is not fair to me, and it should not happen to any other woman.
Nancy says they made the difficult decision to abort based on her doctor's advice. But her attorney, Ben Crump, says the state of Louisiana's vague and confusing abortion laws, which triggered immediately after Roe versus Wade was overturned, prevented her from proceeding with the medical advice. Now, joining us virtually is Senator Katrina Jackson of Louisiana, who was one of, if not the author of the abortion legislation for her state. Now, she hopes to bring some clarity to the law. Senator Jackson, it's an honor to have you here today. Thank you so much for taking the time.
And thank you, Dr. Phil. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person. I still practice law for a living.
And Senator Jackson, this is a tragic diagnosis for this family. And I understand that when this law was written, you were the primary author of the law, is that right?
I was, but let me say this, there was no rush to write this law. I am the primary author of some changes to this law. Louisiana's abortion trigger has been in place since 2006. My law wasn't set to take effect until August the 1st, which added the exception that we're talking about now, the medical futility exception. When I first brought my bill, I didn't bring it to add an exception. One of my main goals was that the 2006 trigger law criminalized women who sought an abortion after Roe versus Wade, because I'm always empathetic to women, regardless if they don't agree with my position or not. That was one of the main goals, to make sure women were not criminalized. When the bill went to the other side, it was added in the process, the medical futility exception. So when people say Louisiana law forced this, it was not Louisiana law. It was overzealous physicians, and I respect them, who refused for 3 or 4 days to take the advice of the Louisiana Department of Health that the exception was in place. So I'm not sure how much clearer it could be. The bill was written because we wanted to ensure there was no confusion.
But Ben, the physicians, they did not want to do this, right?
They did not want to put themselves in what they thought was a political tug of war. Had they did this procedure, they feared, when you read the law on its face, that if you knowingly perform an abortion, that you could be sentenced to 10 to 15 years in prison, have to pay a fine of $20,000 to $200,000, and you lose your medical license. So these doctors were saying, well, hold on. If I do this and some politician wants to make a point, then my life is in jeopardy, literally. And that seems to be what's causing all the problems. These doctors are hesitating on giving medical care because the politicians have said that we're telling you what you can do, and they don't want to get caught in the crosshairs.
Senator, were they afraid of the medical care getting criminalized?
I'm not sure, because I don't know what their train of thought was. What I do know is that within 3 to 4 days, LDH reached out to them. Our Attorney General put out a statement that a physician that performs this procedure, whether I agree with it or not, because I'm whole life, right, would not be criminalized. At that point, I believe, and Mr. Crump probably would have more information, from what I understand, they began to reach out to Miss Nancy in an attempt to perform the procedure. I don't think there was ambiguity in law. I think it was more of physicians' reading of the law.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.